Today I want to talk about two things that may seem to be unrelated, but really, maybe they are unrelated. I don't know. We'll figure it out as we go along. I'm Mirriam and this is Trials and Errors. The first thing I want to talk about today are these little things that we call facts. You know, we talk about being in a post-factual society, the truth doesn't matter, facts are whatever it is that you think they are. As wrong-headed as this may seem in a lot of places, say for example, who won the election, or whether the earth is flat, for example, in other places, facts are what a person, or in the case of trials, what a group of people think they are. In a few of my other videos, people have questioned my knowledge of facts in certain scenarios. And as an attorney, depending on what side I'm on, depending on who I represent, facts change. So if I represent a plaintiff in a civil case, my facts are that the defendant in this civil case committed acts or neglected to affirmatively do things, and because of that, my client was injured. And if I represent the defendant in a civil case, I'll probably say that it wasn't my client's fault at all, that my client did everything correctly, and that the plaintiff was actually negligent and didn't do what he was supposed to do. Those are two versions of the facts. So facts in legal terminology are relevant, almost subjective. Now, who gets to decide facts? The jury. 12 people or 6, depending on what kind of trial it is. You put them in a room together and they determine the facts. Not you, YouTube commentator. Not me, criminal defense attorney. I will present my version of facts. The other side will present theirs. And then the jury will determine what the facts are. So you could kind of say that I'll bring the theory to the lab, which is the courtroom, and then the scientists, which are the jurors, test everything, test the evidence, kind of shake it all out, put everything in beakers or whatever, and come up with the facts. So it's always interesting to me when we're talking about the law, and we're talking about, for example, criminal cases in particular, when people are so quick to determine that they know what the facts are. For example, Casey Anthony definitely killed her daughter. The facts prove that. Well, we know for a fact that the facts did not prove that because a jury found her to be not guilty. So there weren't facts that established the guilt of Casey Anthony in murdering her daughter. So it doesn't matter what you think. You can think whatever you want. She didn't do it. There are no facts to prove that she did it. You can run around and say the fact is this and the fact is that. Your definition of fact is completely irrelevant. If you believe it's a fact that Kyle Rittenhouse acted in self-defense, nobody cares. That might as well be, and it actually is, your personal opinion. That's what that is. Anything you think about a criminal matter or a civil matter that is in litigation is your opinion. It's not a fact. I'm sorry, I guess, but juries decide facts unless you have a bench trial, which means you have a trial by a judge, and a judge decides the facts. That's it. I don't decide them. You don't decide them. We can try to convince people of them, but that's it. In fact, once again, I'm going to stop using that phrase. When we as attorneys make opening statements, we can't say the facts are. We can say the evidence will show, or we will prove that you will find this fact, right? You will find the fact. And on top of that, we as attorneys are not allowed to bring in evidence that would establish, right, would prove that, would give the jury, what is that thing called? So when we have experts that testify, for example, when we talk about facts, our experts cannot testify that in their expertise, a certain fact was established in their testimony, because again, the fact is decided by a jury. We have an objection that is presumes facts not in evidence, which means that you can't presume that a thing is a fact until you've presented evidence which would lead a jury to establish that that could potentially be a fact. And if you don't do that, you can't. I mean, nobody's going to be able to say, Kyle Rittenhouse, it's a fact that he acted in self-defense. What they can say is the evidence will show that Mr. Rittenhouse acted in self-defense. The second thing I want to talk about is bias, right? And picking sides. There are a lot of people out there in the world who claim to only present the facts in criminal cases in particular. They are neutral. They are just calling balls and strikes. That's it. They're just telling it like it is. There's no such thing as neutrality. It doesn't exist. Everyone has a side. Everyone picks a side. So anyone who tells you they're just telling it like it is, they're just presenting the facts, it's basically not true, because if you are a lawyer and you're saying you're just presenting the facts, you know you're not telling the truth because the facts have not yet been established, okay? There is no presenting the facts as an attorney, as a practicing attorney, actually. So maybe if you're just an attorney who sits in a chair and talks to people about what it's like to be an attorney, or, you know, kind of just analyzes cases for a living. But as a practicing attorney, I'm not going to pretend to be neutral. I pick a side. I'm a criminal defense attorney. That's the side I'm going to pick. I'm also an activist. Some people would call me a social justice warrior. I believe in anti-racism. I believe in equality. I hate misogyny. Down with the patriarchy. Power to the people. So I'm also going to be on the side of Black Americans, brown Americans, Spanish-speaking Americans, immigrants, refugees. That's just where I stand. I'm not going to pretend to be neutral. And you know who else isn't neutral? In a courtroom, the person who chooses balls and strikes, or who calls them the referee, the judge. Judges aren't neutral. All judges have biases. If you don't believe me, check out my Breonna Taylor video. The link is down below. You'll see the biases that judges have. So this concept of equality in being able to present facts is fake and false. We come to you with all of our baggage. We bring it to you when we explain the law. For me to tell you that I am neutral is simply not true. I don't pick facts, juries do. And I'm pretty freaking biased towards people who are accused and towards people who are oppressed by this system. So I guess those two things do have something to do with one another after all. You see how I brought all that together? That's a sign of a trial lawyer, my friends. That's a skill that you never forget. It's like riding a bicycle. You start over here, you end up over here, but it all makes sense at the end of the day. If you like this video and it made you think for a second, or you learned something new, give it a thumbs up. Then what I'd really love you to do is subscribe to the channel so that we know that you like the content that we're putting out. And by like, I don't mean you have to agree with me. That's fine, don't agree with me. I don't know you, you don't know me. We don't have to agree, but I'd like it if you subscribed and hit the notification icon so that you know every single time we have a new video coming out. Until next time, bye.